Something serious is stirring inside Westminster, and it's not coming from the opposition. In a dramatic escalation that sent tremors through Labour's top ranks, senior MPs are now openly warning that Sir Keir Starmer could face a full-blown leadership crisis, and potentially even the collapse of his government. Behind closed doors, Starmer's own allies are sounding the alarm. If this rebellion isn't stopped, it could trigger a general election. But how did it come to this? Let's break it down. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. In the days ahead, Starmer is facing what could be the most dangerous parliamentary revolt of his premiership. The trigger? His government's controversial plan to slash £5 billion from Britain's ballooning welfare budget, a move that would strip roughly 800,000 people of disability-related benefits and affect hundreds of thousands more. But it's not just the opposition that's fuming. Labour MPs themselves are threatening to pull the rug out from under Starmer. Sources inside the party have confirmed that Labour rebels have been explicitly warned by Starmer's team. Back this rebellion, and you might just bring the whole government down. One MP was even told that going ahead with the revolt could trigger a leadership contest, adding ominously, this could be the start of the end for Keir's. Yet despite the warnings from the whip's office, many on the backbenches are refusing to back down. I would be happy to see a leadership contest. One Labour MP defiantly told the Financial Times, "I think perhaps it's time for change." These are not empty threats. Over 125 Labour MPs have now signed an amendment that would force Starmer's government to submit the welfare bill to a formal assessment by the Office for Budget Responsibility. Their concern? The brutal real-world impact of the cuts. An internal analysis by Whitehall paints a stark picture. Over 250,000 people, including 50,000 children, could be pushed into poverty if the changes are passed. And a separate master list, compiled by rebel organisers, now claims that 170 Labour MPs are either openly or privately against the bill. That figure should terrify number 10. Starmer's current majority stands at 156. If just 80 MPs break ranks, the government could lose the vote, a defeat that might spell the collapse of its entire legislative agenda, or worse. Despite the rising tide of rebellion, Starmer has insisted that next Tuesday's vote is not a confidence motion. It's not a confidence vote, he told Sky News. It's about reforming our welfare system. It isn't working. It actually makes it harder for people to go into work. Starmer framed the bill as a necessary reform, but with party unity fracturing and media scrutiny mounting, his leadership is increasingly under pressure. In an unexpected twist, the Conservatives may now hold Starmer's political lifeline. Kemi Badenoch, acting as a deal-maker, publicly laid out 3 conditions for Tory support. 1. The bill must genuinely reduce the welfare budget. 2. It must encourage people into work. 3. And it must not raise taxes. If Starmer commits to that at the dispatch box, we can support the bill, Badenoch said. But the bill's a bit of a mess, it looks rushed. Rachel Reeves is trying to patch up deeper problems they've got. The statement might have been intended as a conditional lifeline, but it also served to underline just how fragile the situation really is. Labour is now in the bizarre position of having to rely on Conservative MPs to keep its own welfare policy afloat, and the internal pressure is only getting worse. Last week, Vicky Foxcroft, a government whip and Lord Commissioner of the Treasury, resigned from the front bench in protest. In a pointed 535-word letter, she slammed Starmer's plan to cut personal independence payment, PIP, and the health component of universal credit, 2 lifelines for millions of vulnerable citizens. "I do not believe that these cuts should be part of the solution," she wrote. Behind the scenes, Work and Pension Secretary Liz Kendall is said to be desperately trying to calm the rebellion, but Labour MPs say efforts to regain control have so far failed. "They've tried hard today and everyone's just stayed firm," said one MP. The fallout is already being felt across the political landscape. Just months after Starmer won a commanding election victory, his government is looking increasingly unstable, and his position as party leader, once ironclad, now appears vulnerable. To make matters worse, the latest Ipsos polling delivers a brutal blow. Reform UK has surged to 34%, a full 9 points ahead of Starmer's Labour Party. If the trend holds, the once unthinkable could become reality. Nigel Farage could lead the largest party in Britain. From a position of dominance to a crisis of leadership, Starmer's Labour is now fighting for survival. What happens next depends on the days ahead, but make no mistake. If Tuesday's vote goes sideways, it could be the start of the end for Keir Starmer's government. And with the pressure mounting and the rebellion growing, one thing is clear. Westminster is bracing for political shockwaves, and they may hit sooner than anyone expected. In other news, the mask has finally slipped. After years of promises to protect London's precious green spaces, Sadiq Khan is now actively planning to concrete over our parks, having failed for many years to deliver on his housing promises. The latest assault comes in the form of TfL's shocking proposal to sacrifice Trent Park in Enfield for 10,000 new homes, a scheme that represents everything wrong with this Labour mayor's approach to planning. Conservative politician Alessandro Giorgio, AM, has been fighting tirelessly against this environmental assault by Khan and his cronies, and rightly so. Trent Park isn't just a patch of grass in Enfield, it's a vital green lung for North London, a place where families go to escape the urban sprawl, where children learn to appreciate nature, and where wildlife thrives in an increasingly concrete jungle. That Khan would treat it as nothing more than a development opportunity shows a complete contempt for Londoners. The Conservative team at the London Assembly, however, have leapt into action. Our campaign, Save Our Green Spaces, is gathering momentum precisely because ordinary Londoners understand what Khan apparently doesn't. That green spaces aren't optional extras to be discarded when convenient, but essential infrastructure for a healthy, sustainable city. The petition calling on the mayor to halt this destructive scheme continues to attract signatures from people who refuse to accept that their local parks should be sacrificed for Labour's political targets. What's been particularly disappointing is the cowardly response from Reform in London when we brought this issue to the London Assembly. When my Conservative colleagues and I put forward a motion to protect parks from being built on, we expected cross-party support. After all, surely politicians of all stripes can agree that preserving green spaces benefits everyone, regardless of their political affiliation. Instead, Reform chose to back Labour in opposing our motion. I'm genuinely shocked by this decision. Here was an opportunity to stand up for something that transcends party politics, the preservation of London's natural environment for future generations. But no, Reform's Alex Wilson decided to get into bed with Sir Sadiq and abandon the very communities he claims to represent. This betrayal by Reform exposes the hollow nature of their supposed anti-establishment credentials. When push came to shove, they sided with the Labour establishment against the interests of ordinary Londoners who treasure their local parks. Their voters deserve better than this spineless capitulation, and they deserve to know how they are being let down. The fight for Trent Park represents something much bigger than one development proposal. It's about the kind of city we want London to be. Do we want a concrete metropolis where every scrap of green space is fair game for developers? Or do we want a city that values its natural heritage and understands that quality of life depends on more than just housing numbers? The Conservative position is clear. London needs more homes, but not at the expense of our irreplaceable green spaces. We can achieve both objectives through proper planning, brownfield development, and a mayor who keeps his promises to protect what makes our city great. The Save Our Green Spaces campaign will continue until this destructive proposal is abandoned. London's parks are not for sale. Take note, Sadiq. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.